Paul Hawken, a best-selling author, wrote a really good book called Growing Your Business. In the book, he suggested that he thought maybe one of the most important attributes for leaders in business is imagination. Imagination, the ability to think outside the box, the ability to think creatively, the ability to come up with more than one answer. Imagination. I thought that was interesting when I saw that. One of the best-selling books of all time on leadership is a book called Leadership Challenge. It was written a number of years ago, but remains a bestseller on the topic of leadership. The authors were Kouzes with a K and Posner. Kouzes and Posner. They did one of the largest surveys ever done of business leaders, and they found 3 attributes that really stood out among high-performing business leaders. And those 3 attributes, number 1 was competence, the ability to do your job, whatever it is, as an attribute of a successful leader, to be good at what you're doing. If you're the CFO, you're good with numbers. If you're the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, you're really good at marketing. So the number 1 attribute is competence. You're good at your job. The second attribute was vision, the ability to see big picture, the ability to see a month from now, 6 months from now, 3 years from now, and be able to create a picture of success. Visionary, second attribute. And then the third attribute, maybe the most important that they found in their survey for leaders, particularly I think business leaders, is honesty. Sometimes brutal honesty, but just being honest. If there's bad news, tell us there's bad news. If there's good news, tell us the good news. But be honest, be transparent with your people. Competence, vision, and honesty, 3 important attributes for leaders. Another interesting attribute, and I saw this recently in an article in Harvard Business Review, and the title to the article was, Great CEOs Are Lazy. You can imagine that got my attention. Great CEOs are lazy. Well, the essence of the article is that great CEOs do not take on the work of others. They got enough on their hands. So when someone comes in their office and says, hey, Carlos, could you help me with this? Or would you be willing to take this on? It's, well, this is your project. You keep the project. What can I help you with? Maybe we can talk through this. Great leaders don't take on the work, the responsibilities of others. Great leaders are lazy. They're also very good at delegation. I hope each of you had a chance to read the article. Your homework for today was to read the article on delegation. That's a classic. That article is considered the gold standard when it comes to understanding delegation. And it essentially says, once you delegate something, don't take it back. If you delegate it effectively, if you delegate it the right way, it should never come back. But I know I've been guilty of that. I delegate something, the next thing I know, I now have responsibility for that. And I think, how did that happen? I handed this off to CV and somehow he gave it back to me. How did that happen? Well, it happens to leaders all the time, but great leaders are effective delegators. The great CEOs are lazy. They don't do the work of others. Something else about great leaders is that they not only do they work well with others, but they also understand. They understand that the concept of situational leadership. Situational leadership. So let me give you an example of situational leadership. I'm going to pull up my screen here. Let's see here. So here's another, before I get to that, another one of my favorite quotes as it relates to leadership comes from Antoine, the French author, philosopher, Antoine Saint-Exupéry. He says, if you want to build a ship, don't drum up the men to gather wood, divide the work and give orders. Instead, teach them to yearn for the vast and endless sea. I love this quote because I think it creates a beautiful picture of what leadership is. If you want to build a ship, if you want to grow a company, don't drum up the men and women together, divide the work and give orders. Instead, teach them to yearn for the vast and endless sea. It speaks to the importance for leaders of having a vision, having a picture of success, and guiding our people towards that vision.